Hey y'all, it's Trey. Good to see you again. And today I am starting a new journey on this channel. Let me explain where I'm coming from a little bit. I was thinking back on some of my over 200 videos now that I have, and I realized we're kind of lacking in some black girl magic in this space, which is weird to me because that's the majority of the music that I'm listening to right now. Besides Shakira, besides Christina Aguilera, I've got Beyonce, Tinashe, Doja Cat, Chloe and Halle, Chloe in her solo career as well. And then tons of others. Rihanna is another one that I've been bopping to lately. Janet Jackson has been in the news recently. I just watched her Lifetime A&E documentary that came out. 4 hours. Really, really interesting stuff. And she's someone who has had such a huge influence on music, but whose work and history I'm not super familiar with. So I wanted to take a little bit of a dive into her discography and document it with y'all, bring you along for the ride. I'm gonna start out with the first album that was really hers, Control. Because the first two albums, as she has said multiple times, were not really her, were not really a part of her vision. She was just doing what she was told to, and she doesn't really perform the songs from those albums, so it's not gonna be anything that I'm gonna recognize or probably enjoy, frankly. I do have the album Control on my wall of records back here, so it's not going to be entirely fresh to me. This is the Janet album that my mom grew up with. This was what she went to college hearing, and some of her club day songs as well. So when we were growing up, me and my siblings, if any of these songs came on the radio, like What Have You Done For Me Lately, that was the Janet that I got introduced to because my mom would start singing along and dancing with that. And we'll get into some of the later parts of her career with the later videos and later albums, which I'm going to be a lot less familiar with, especially when we get into the 21st century, for some obvious reasons that we can probably talk about. But I wanted to start with Control, the really big one that started it off. She was 20 when this thing came out, when she made this, and I'm excited because knowing some of the history behind this now, after watching the documentary and doing some research, I'm really excited to approach the music with that perspective, because the last time I listened to this record, I didn't know any of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes or that went into the creation of this masterpiece that we're about to listen to. So, without further ado, let's dive right into this reaction video. Track number 1, Control.
Control of what I do.
What an iconic start.
And this time I'm gonna do it my way.
Yes, ma'am.
When I was 17, I did what people told me.
Oh, great lines, great lines.
I did what my father said and let my mother mold me.
Yes. Hey.
And so naive, I thought it would be easy. I got to take
Hey! And pop music would never be the same. They really did an amazing job. One, it's a perfect song. Yes, it's 6 minutes long. And yes, every second of it deserves to be there. There are no 2-minute tracks in sight on this masterpiece. I know that's right. In this track alone, they did an amazing job of adapting her story and making it into this really something that had a universal appeal. Some of those lyrics, there's weight to them when you think about Janet Jackson's situation, right? Where she was like, I did what my father said. Or when I first fell in love, I was so naive, I thought it would be easy. And those are all words that I think as 20-somethings we've kind of said to ourselves after we've left the house, after we've fallen in love for the first time. But it has weight when Janet says it that it doesn't have if someone like me were to say it, because I haven't been through what Janet's been through. So it's just like, it appeals to me, but Janet has weight to what she says, you know? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm trying to imagine what it was like to hear this album for the first time back in 1986. I don't know how much of Janet's personal life was out there for the public to know. I don't really know how the media worked in the 1980s compared to how it does now. But I cannot imagine how exciting this music must have been to hear for the first time if you knew what was going on behind the scenes. Because I'm enjoying it now. This is my first time listening to it and knowing the public story. Track number 2, Nasty.
Give me a beat!
You didn't have a beat before, sis?
Sitting in the movie show, thinking nasty thoughts.
I think that's a funny lyric when you think about what had been going on in the 80s. Or I guess it would have started with the 60s, and then the 70s and 80s, you know, with the sexual revolution and more mature content being showed in movie theaters. So what a way to set the scene. To like right from the beginning, we're getting real nasty. I'm sitting in a movie show. Might be one of those movie shows. Thinking nasty thoughts. Ooh.
Oh, you nasty boys. Roxy is my middle name. My last name is Control.
Hey,
No, my first name ain't Baby.
it's Janet. Miss Jackson if you're nasty. Those lines are iconic. They're so iconic. It doesn't matter if it's 1986 or 2006. When I was growing up and sitting in the car listening to the radio with my mom, she knew those words, and I learned them very quickly. No, my first name ain't Baby. It's Janet, Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
Who's ever do my nasty groove?
Nasty boys!
Nasty boys.
Nasty is the song that makes me shocked that she was 20 when she did this, because, you know, not only are the lyrics real sexy, real dirty, real nasty, but also in that last minute of the song where she just is commanding with her voice. There's not a lot of modern 20-somethings in music that I think of that have a voice that is that commanding when they are just speaking and talking to a group of people, commanding a group of men to say, hey, I call, you respond. There's not a lot who can do it, but a lot have tried. I also think we don't talk enough about those harmonies on the, oh, you nasty boys. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but that's a moment. It's just a little detail, you know, that's some work put into that, and oh, it's a great moment in the song. All right, now, track number 3, What Have You Done For Me Lately? I know he used to do nice stuff for you, but what has he done for you lately? You ought to be thankful for the little things, but little things are all you seem to give. Soap opera says, you've got one life to live. Who's right? Who's wrong?
What have you done for me lately?
Ooh, yeah. What have you done for me lately? Oh, it's such a good song. It has so much attitude, but it's righteous attitude. That's another one that I learned the words from watching my mom groove to it in the car, because the intro is iconic. The lines are iconic. You know, the little build up to the chorus is iconic as well. Soap opera says, you've got one life to live. Who's right? Who's wrong? And then the sound engineers, they had some fun mixing that up. The little dun what have you done for me lately? Bum 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 bum. It's so playful and fun, memorable, instantly iconic. Now, the first third of this album is what I'm most familiar with. Now we're getting into the second third of this album, and this is where it starts to get with, territory that I don't know as well, so I think I'll rein in on the singing along and dancing as much. Track number 4, You Can Be Mine. Kind of low energy here. Hey, that's hot. I think You Can Be Mine is the one that doesn't stick with me as much because it feels like such a product of, it feels contained to the 80s. The others have kind of like lasted beyond their time, but You Can Be Mine feels like, this is an 80s song. It really reminds me of, it has some things in common with Rocksteady by the Whispers, I believe. And then I think New Kids on the Block borrowed from both of these and some others for their song, The Right Stuff. There's some similar instruments and, song structure going on here. You Can Be Mine is still amazing. It just doesn't stick with me as hard as Control, What Have You Done For Me Lately, Nasty. The guitar slaps though. The 70s and 80s gave us many things, but one of those things is a good guitar solo. Yes! Track number 5, The Pleasure Principle. We have not slowed down. Keep the party going. More guitar, yes! I am hearing some of these lyrics for the first time. She is calling this man out on his bullshit. Now, knowing about her first marriage to James DeBarge, some of these lyrics are scathing. What she said, talking about what she thought was love, was just part-time bliss. Because the first marriage, that was fast. It was quick. I think the story is that he didn't even propose. And then in the second verse, she's like, I'm not here to feed your insecurities. This is scathing, okay? Because if the public didn't know about their romance and everything leading up to the marriage, they certainly were reading about her divorce. People knew about this stuff. People knew who she was singing about in this song. And then as the song progresses, it really, I think it becomes less lyrical and more just like her vocals. They really start to soar and go to a different level as the song progresses and goes into its outro after the guitar interlude. And to me, that kind of represents her moving on from this relationship and heading towards other things, because she sounds looser as the song goes on and progresses, and so it sounds like freedom. It sounds like the process of freedom as the song progresses. So that's something that I really appreciate about The Pleasure Principle. Track number 6, When I Think of You. I am just loving this beginning, this intro, where we are feeling the song build piece by piece. I love hearing how the sound engineers are going like, okay, these are the chords. Here we've got this funky groove going on here. And then we're bringing in a little bit of percussion and another instrument here. I love hearing the sound of this song being built at the beginning. When I Think of You is off to a great start.
Ooh, baby. Anytime the world gets crazy, nothing else seems to matter. Just when I think of you, baby.
When I Think of You, I feel like I'm hearing that song for the first time, really. That's so fun and so sweet. Woo! The little breakdown before the outro had some guts to it. That was fun too. See, okay, now I'm paying attention to this album. I'm really enjoying it more. When I Think of You is one that I don't think has ever really stuck with me. I enjoyed every bit of that one now. I'm gonna put that on my little Valentine's Day playlist. Track number 7, He Doesn't Know I'm Alive.
Doesn't even know that I'm alive. Doesn't know that
Whoa!
And when he opened the door, I could have died there before.
Hey. Okay. Sing, ma'am. Here's my thing about He Doesn't Know I'm Alive. Low point of the album so far for me. Janet brought it with her vocals. And I just think that the arrangement of the instruments behind her did not pack as much punch as she did. I love a saxophone solo when it's earned. And in my opinion, it didn't deserve to be in there. It didn't really click with me. That is what I can say, though, is that her vocals were all there. She did some amazing things. Some of those high notes were gorgeous and just unexpected. Track number 8, Let's Wait a While. Oh, do we finally have a slow jam?
Talk it over. Let's wait a while longer.
This song is sexy. Patience is sexy. This song is dripping with sexuality, and I love it. This is a song that is as much about having sex as it is about not having sex. And just that little snap or whatever that is, the beat that's happening, it's like water dripping from a faucet into a sink. It's slow, but oh, you're watching it, you're waiting it, and it's just drip, 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 slowly building. Oh my God! Drip.
When all of the stars, let's wait a while. Before it's too late, let's wait a while.
I'm a big fan of Let's Wait a While, and the choice to include it kind of on the back half of this album. It's tender and mature, and it shows off Janet's range. It's this silky side of her, you know? The first half of this album, and a lot of it, these songs have really punched you, you know? They've been intense, hip-poppin' songs, you know? But this is a slow jam. This is a slow jam. You can slow dance with someone. I can just imagine all those 80s kids dancing to this at their prom for the slow dance. Oh my goodness. I felt transported back in time with that one. That is such an 80s song, and the sound of it is so 80s. But man, the maturity, it still translates. I am taken aback by that one. We have shown her range at this point, all right? Time to close out the album now with track number 9. Funny How Time Flies When You're Having Fun. Oh, wow. Another slow one. Okay, so this is speaking French. Ooh, a little guitar.
Don't you ever go. I really have to go. One more time.
That outro got a little graphic for me, okay? There was a lot of moaning going on. Honey, half of that song was moaning. Ooh. I don't want to hear it anymore about what the girlies are doing today and how they're sexualizing themselves and how they're pushing the bar and they don't have standards, because I know what y'all were listening to in the 80s now. So, hush hush. Woo! Wow! That was nasty. Now, Control, the album. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And man, what a way to really now I really have a better idea of just how loudly and boldly Janet really announced herself onto the scene. She said, I am solo. I am a young woman. I have all of these talents. I'm a member of the Jackson family, but I'm also my own person. And I'm going to show y'all what I can do. She said all of that and more. So much more with this album. It's sold, what, 14 million copies at this point? It's insane how many times this album has gone platinum. All of the #1 singles that came from this. It was the beginning of a very, very, very long winning streak for Janet. And what a start. What a start. I think I liked every song on this album with the exception of He Doesn't Know I'm Alive. Just didn't really do it for me. And Funny How Time Flies, it made me uncomfy. It was borderline, but it was catchy and it stuck in my head a lot. And I was going, funny how time flies when you're having fun. So like it's really only He Doesn't Know I'm Alive that was like a low point for me. The rest of it was just bop after bop after bop after bop. Very well done. Amazing vocal performances. I mean, I still can't get over just the grit that she had in her voice for Nasty. Like, who's that talking nasty talk? Ah! This album is such an announcement. And on the album cover, she's just a tall exclamation point like, hey, I'm loud and proud. And get ready, because I'm about to bring the house down. Janet! Janet! Wow, okay, now I'm glad I started with this one. I'm really excited to go into the rest of her discography now and experience what all other amazing things that she did. I'm probably going to go through some of the music videos from this era as well, because I know that she is largely responsible for MTV becoming what it became, right? And so I need to see some of the blueprints. So I'll be getting into some of that. But also, let me know, now that I'm embarking on this Janet Jackson journey, if you guys have some specific videos or things that you want me to react to as well. I will, of course, be reacting to other artists in between, in the middle. It's not just going to be a big, long streak of Janet. I'm going to keep things interesting. But I'm certainly going to be looking forward to continuing this journey over the next couple of months. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Send me more stuff to react to. And I will see y'all again very, very soon. Bye!